Hi, welcome to NFPA LiNK YouTube channel. This page is dedicated to answering any question or challenge you have related to electrical and life safety. And we're going to use NFPA LiNK to do it. The easy to use digital access to NFPA codes and standards. Today, we've been asked to cover the important points of wiring in a repair garage that has a vehicle service bay. Let's get started. We're going to come over here to LiNK. Click on Direct. We will go to Equipment and we're going to go to Vehicles because we're dealing with a vehicle repair garage. Scroll down here to V, go to Vehicles, and you will see we have a vehicle service bay. In this artwork, you will notice as well that there's a pit, heat, lighting, and a garage. And we're going to start out with the vehicle service bay pit wiring. So most vehicle service bays have a pit. This may be in a quick lube, oil change, or a major repair garage. Service bay pits are considered hazardous location and can be classified as a Class 1 Division 1 location. However, there are some exceptions to that. And the exceptions are, well, we'll cover here in a second, but areas with inadequate ventilation, you will see any pit or below grade work area is classified as a Class 1 Division 1 location, which directs them from Article 511 to Article 501. And would require you to use rigid metal conduit, intermediate metal conduit, or mineral insulated type MI cable. And that is found in 501.10a for a complete listing of those wiring methods. They would have to have listed fittings and enclosures, seals, which are also known in the trade as seal-offs. Article 501 also requires devices, equipment, and luminaires within a Class 1 Division 1 location be rated and listed for that classification. Here's the exception. A pit or below grade work area can have a classification reduced to a Class 1 Division 2, which still takes you to 501. It still requires rigid metal conduit, intermediate metal conduit, but it now allows type MC cable, and that is in 501.10b. They have to have listed fittings and enclosures and seal-offs. So you would want to consult those areas, and anything that you do has to be wrench tight. Much of the raceways are cut and thread, and you would have to have the threaded and wrench tight and be put together. Now, the next thing that we're going to cover is the heaters. We'll click the back button. We're going to click on Vehicle Service Bay Heater. Now, garages of any type classification require heat of some kind, usually, if they're going to have people in there working. These heaters are typically gas, sometimes they're electric, a lot of times they're radiant heaters that basically heat objects and skin versus heating the air because of the doors to those garages being opened. The use of Article 511 in the NEC, specifically tables 511.3c and 3d, help assist in determining the classification of the area. The heaters within a classified area must be identified to be used in that classification and must have a temperature controller to limit the temperature of the surfaces of the heater to not exceed 80% of the auto ignition temperature in degrees Celsius of gases or vapors involved on any surface that exposed to those gas or vapors. Many heaters are either pre-wired with a cord and plug attachment, which is connected to a receptacle mounted above the heater, or with a rated switch located on or adjacent to that heater. And we will take you into that area and you will see 511, and it talks about these classifications. and it's repair garages with dispensing, repair garages major and minor. So you'll want to take a look at 511.3. 501.135 specifically talks about heaters, and this is where we get that information. Now, there could be current limiting devices that are applied, so there's an exception. The heater shall be identified for a Class 1, Division 1 location. Just depends on the location of that. Also depends on the type of fuel that you have. We'll click back, and you'll notice that these hang down a bit. Most cases in repair garages, the classified location is 18 inches above that floor. So it only extends up to 18 inches in that area. The pit, because it's recessed and down in, that is where fumes and flammable vapors or gases can accumulate. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the general purpose, and a lot of times you will see cord reels installed. Now, cord reels being installed, the receptacle that the cord reel plugs into would just probably be a standard receptacle located in the ceiling, and then it's going to be, plugged into it. Now, if you had a lighter than air type of fuel like hydrogen, then you could have a hazardous location within 18 inches or so of that top ceiling, which would take you into a whole different dynamic, and that would be a different topic for a different day. The one thing that has to be understood is that these cord reels, if they're going to be pulled down and they go into the classified location, they would have to be rated as such. So there's some areas that you're going to be dealing with. Wiring in spaces above talks about the classes of area classifications, again in 511.3, and the cord reel would have to be GFCI protected and be the attachment plug be a grounding type. Also has the use of flexible cords in 501.140, and it talks about cords between portable lighting equipment or other portable utilization equipment and fixed portions of the supply circuit. Again, if that cord reel can get down into the classified area, then it would have to be rated as such. Most cases, these cord reels, and we'll go back to our picture, these cord reels that are hanging right here, and you'll see a cord reel coming down here, and this person has their toolbox, and then maybe it has a computer charger, but you'll see that it is above that 18 inches, and it's not going to be able to extend down in that. You'll see over here in our picture, there's a cord reel light hanging there. That would have to be rated so that if it gets broke or damaged, that any hot particles stay within that area. So let's go to vehicle service bay lighting. So we're going to cover the lighting part of it. And those lighting service bay typically can include general lighting, portable cord lighting, and emergency lighting. So those are typically the three types of lighting. And you would have to, again, go to tables 511.3C and 511.3D to determine whether you're in a major or minor repair garage. And also you would have to deal with lighting or supplemental lighting that could be in and around that hazardous location. And you would be, again, dealing with 511.4B2, talks about portable lighting, and it addresses it there. Now, those do require seals in some of those areas. And we are going to click on this, and it talks about the luminaires. And it shall be identified as a complete assembly for the Class 1. So in the pit, luminaire would have to be rated for a Class 1, Division 1, unless there was proper ventilation, then it could be a Class 1, Division 2. So that's why it's important, because a Class 1, Division 1 luminaire has more to it, therefore probably more expensive. Now, Another thing we're going to talk about is the vehicle lift. And you'll see in our picture here that we have a vehicle that is being lifted up. Many times these are connected with a cord, or because of vibration or movement possibly in the pillars a little bit, or they may be in an MC cable. And the motor and everything would have to be located above the 18-inch level if it was not classified to be able to be within that 18 inches for a Class 1 Division 2 if there was ventilation, or Class 1 Division 1, depending on what that is, but it's 18-inch level. So you would also go to Article 430 to determine the proper sizing and the disconnecting means, the branch circuit overcurrent protection, and the wire size for the branch circuit. We hope that answered a lot of your questions about wiring in a repair garage with a vehicle service bay. Be sure to visit nfpa.org/link and give LiNK a try if you haven't already. As you just saw, LiNK is truly a window to productivity.